On this excerpt from episode 101 of A Pod of Two Halves, we select our all-time 3 greatest ever football 11s. If you like us, give us a subscribe.
So this year, last year now, the Ballon d'Or was obviously cancelled because they suggested there wasn't enough games played. So they did, obviously, Lewandowski pretty dirty with that one. And instead decided to do a all-time 11 for the Ballon d'Or. Now, not necessarily all of these players have won the Ballon d'Or. I do want to state that because defenders tend not to see that trophy. It's obviously predominantly owned by offensive players, which makes sense because they make the game beautiful. However, the way they did it was fucking ridiculous. With having one central defender, 2 fullbacks, and then a whole load of attacking players on the pitch. That's not really providing us a definitive list of greatest ever 11s.
And then the way they did it as well was ridiculous. They did it they said, here's the first 11, here's the second 11, here's the third 11. So essentially you had 3 separate teams all playing this bananas formation, which was literally, as you said, a centre-half, 2 fullbacks, fucking like 2 midfielders and 7 strikers. It was just, it was ridiculous. You had Pele playing at wing-back, essentially.
Yes,
just
Pele and Maradona
complete nonsense.
Filling out the wing-back positions nicely. So what we've gone ahead and done is try and create our top 3 teams. Correct me if I'm wrong, Opal, Pink Diamond.
So I've gone for the NBA 2K,
which is the right way to do on this, by the way.
The NBA 2K naming system. So the gold team, the first team, are the Galaxy Opal team.
Galaxy Opal, okay. Yes.
Then we have the Pink Diamond team, which is the second team. And then we have just the Diamond team, which is the third team. Because if you say third team, sounds shit. Our third team are called the Diamonds, and Diamonds are cool. So whichever way you look at it, they're all looking pretty swift. So Galaxy Opal, Pink Diamond, and Diamond.
To keep it interesting as well, 3 different formations for each team. 4-2-3-1 for the Galaxy Opal, 4-3-3 for the Pink Diamond, and then a sort of 5-3-2.
Yeah, 3-5-2-5. Basically, what this does, it allows, because there may be some players like a defensive midfielder or a wing back who may not get picked in a traditional, one of the other formations. So we thought we'd do 3 different formations. That way, it allows for representation, but also, and this is the crucial thing for this, these teams have to fucking work. Right?
Bingo.
This isn't a let's just play all of the fucking players that are skillful. This team has to be a team.
Basically,
this team has to function.
To summarise, Lee Collard's going to fucking hate this.
Because it's going to take forever.
Wait, that, and crucially, these are teams that would work.
Oh, with actual
It's
formations.
not a case that we're going to shove Pele in the central midfield, because Pele...
Well, I heard you had Zidane in some form of DM position earlier, so...
No. Crucially, that was my example of what we're not going to fucking do here. And I felt that you were saying, well, actually, Zidane could play in the hole there. And I'm like, I mean, if we go back and could we remodel Zidane into that position? Absolutely. But are we going to do that? That's not the purpose.
We're going to be more strict, or are we?
So we're going to try.
We'll try. There will be things where we're going to go, but the gimmick is, right, is that... We'll start with do you want to start with the first team, obviously?
Let's go for the first team, yeah, because that's
the Galaxy Opals, and then we'll go goalkeeper, go from there, and then essentially me and Woods will name our players. Lee then has to vote, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's probably fair. I do worry about him voting.
Well, you're going to have to make a good case, aren't you? But not too long a case. All right, then we'll get you up then. Let's get it going then. I want your gold standard goalkeeper. The Opal goalkeeper.
So I've gone with the only goalkeeper to win the Ballon d'Or award. He is the gold standard of goalkeepers when you talk to people of knowledge about goalkeepers, which I can't really suggest that I have. I've got Lev Yashin in goal.
I do not.
Is this where we're going to get...
I should stress that my teams are a little bit based on what I like. So, there may be times when Woods wins out, but maybe the heart comes...
Is he Hungarian?
No, he's not Hungarian. No, I've gone with Gigi.
Okay.
Recent years haven't proven kind to him. But longevity, and when I was a kid, there was no one better than Gigi.
See, I want to touch on something here because something that I found when doing this, it's a weird thing, this, right? Because everyone talks about recency bias, which is a legitimate thing. However, I do feel that historical bias also exists when talking about these players. There's like this lull in 90s to the noughties where I found myself going through, and I feel that I've underrated players that played in that era because I've been told from when I was young and getting into football that these are the players, right? These are the players that are the greatest players of all time. And the players that you're watching now cannot live to that level. So then I've grown through those eras, and now we've got to this era of obviously having some mega stars, which we'll obviously touch on because they will probably be featured in at least one of these teams. We see those with our own eyes, and we know that they're exceptional. Although I've got Lev Yashin in, because I assume that Lev Yashin must feature in one of your teams. He's
in one of my teams, yeah. But again, there is a degree of going with historical impact, obviously, in my teams, but also the fact is I watched Buffon throughout his career. Look how many Serie A's he's won. He even won a Serie B when they went down. You know what I mean?
He won the
World Cup. He never won the Champions League, but runner-up 3 times. For me, his resume is fucking impeccable.
Buffon was literally, it was 1A or 1B. The only reason Lev Yashin won out was purely because of the Ballon d'Or. So I'm happy to have Gigi in goal.
Yeah, I'll have to agree.
What say you, Lee?
Because Lev Yashin, I can't base it on anything because I haven't really seen him. So whilst I appreciate obviously the angle you're coming with, Woods, in terms of what you've been told, you as you said, you use the words you assume. He is of that standard, of that quality.
I can't sit here and say that I've watched the tape back several times. I've done my scouting homework, and definitively Lev Yashin is a better goalkeeper than Buffon. The fact is, Lev Yashin probably moved the game on, right? He's one of these players that historically moved the game from where it was as a goalkeeper to where we are now. He was an incredibly important player. Much like, and I don't want to drag this on, much like, Ronda Rousey. I feel that she's a perfect analogy for this, right? Because she absolutely fucking ruined women at the start of the advent of the UFC era for the women's fighting, right? And the facts are also like Mike Tyson in many ways. Their stock was held so high, but it's because of the advent of it. And they inspired. And then people that have come subsequently, that she inspired are just better, right? So there is an argument to be said that Lev Yashin obviously stands out in his era because he was a maverick, he was a trailblazer. But others followed that and looked at that and said, I'm going to be that, but I betted on it. And I think that's why I would say Gigi goes in.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Gigi, don't worry, Lee. I don't want to give you any more work to do, so I'll write these down, yeah?
Yeah, well, you write them down for Woods and then pass them on and he'll tweet them out. I'm sure, yeah.
Don't worry, mate. I got your back, yeah? Do you want, Lee, would you like to see fullbacks or centre-halves first?
Well, just give me your back four, so we can keep it a bit quicker, and then we can then analyse from there on. So I'm assuming you're both playing a back four, or you're going with three?
We've got a back four.
Well, it's 4-2-3-1 this
week. Yeah, we literally said this at the start of this.
Yeah, unfortunately, sometimes you do cut out, so if I do miss these things, then I can't help it. Hit me with a back four, then Woods.
Maldini, Franz Beckenbauer, Sergio Ramos, and Cafu.
Oh! So, right, mine is exactly the same. Other than Ramos out, Baresi in.
It was tough, man.
The man that loves Ramos.
This is it, man. I deliberated on this so hard. I had Ramos's honours in front of me. I had his handsome face, his shit-eating grin. I had his glorious physique staring me in the face for a long time today. And I assumed that one of you guys would shout me down because you know my love for Ramos. I am ecstatic that you're looking for Ramos because I think he's probably the greatest defender of all time. So, but no, mine is Maldini, Baresi, Beckenbauer, and Cafu. I think the fullbacks speak for themselves. Maldini is the best defender. Maldini is the best defender of all time, the best tackler there has ever been.
The one standout for me, right back, Cafu, then a huge gap.
And people will. I'll get to this. People will tell you that other players in right back positions are as good, but my other two right backs and my other two teams will prove that false. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, look, Beckenbauer is obviously...
Yeah, absolutely right.
You know, you need Beckenbauer in there. But no, I mean, yeah, Lee, do you like Baresi or Ramos for the centre-half spot?
Well, are you...
I will tell you why I put Ramos in, right?
Make the case.
Baresi may well be the better defender, right? But give me Ramos every day of the week because the guy's a winner. Give me the winner. Give me the guy that gives me the advantage over the other team just through mentality alone. People lauded Cristiano Ronaldo for winning a lot of those European Cups. Cristiano Ronaldo basically won those European Cups because Sergio Ramos willed those teams to an extent. I feel that his influence on that team has always been downplayed because of Ronaldo's numbers. Ronaldo can't win those European Cups without Sergio Ramos. That's my personal feeling.
And with that as well, I mean, Ramos has won everything.
Everything, right?
Everything.
It's fucking everything.
I will say that Baresi did finish runner-up in the Ballon d'Or.
Yeah, what year was that?
89.
89. I'm trying to think, with that, Van Basten. Might have been Van Basten. Which is incredible for a centre-half. Obviously, there is a centre-half that has won it in recent memory, but he's not even spoken about in this first team. He may well feature... Fabio, exactly. Lee, I think that basically what you can tell is that me and Mikey both want Ramos in.
And I'm going to agree. I'll go with it because I know Mikey won't dispute it. I know it'll make him happy, so we might as well go along with it and go with Ramos at the back with Beckenbauer.
Delicious. What a team this has already been.
Who's in the base then?
What a team. So,
this is what
the two,
go
right?
Ahead.
The two. Go on, do you go first?
No, you go first.
No, I went first last time.
Okay.
No, I know you went first last time.
I went first last time, yeah.
Right, well, you're going to hate me. Right? Again, I said functional. I said a team that will work. Now, my number one is Loftus-Mateus.
Okay, he's in.
Right? Because he wasn't his nickname the Terminator.
The fact that Diego Maradona said that he was his best enemy in a way, he said he was the one guy that he put himself against during the time he was playing, tells you all you need to know about Loftus-Mateus.
Yeah. I think he has to be in.
Easy.
The second one is where it gets interesting, right? This is the one where it's like, oh, who do you go for? I went with who I think, in my lifetime, the best midfielder I've ever seen play football. I went with Andrea Pirlo. Because I genuinely think he's the best midfielder I've ever seen play football.
And he would work well with Mateus, wouldn't he? If Mateus isn't bombing forward too much.
He would work wonderfully with Mateus. I mean, we talk about Xavi. He's the other kind of comparison. Look how how the two are thought of now. They've both retired. You go and find me a list anywhere where someone rates Xavi higher than Pirlo. You won't find it.
It's interesting the thing they say about that because I can't. When I think about Xavi, I think that he has to be with Iniesta.
Yeah, this is it.
You know what I mean? I don't feel that you can have a team like those separate. And at that point, well, how are you going to fit the pair of them into these teams? Is the problem that I've had going through this. I can't see the opportunity to play those two in. I've got Ruud Gullit because Ruud Gullit was a fucking boss man in the 80s. Now, admittedly, probably a bit more advanced further up the field in his peak years during the late 80s, part of that demolishing AC Milan team. But has the ability to play in that position, no doubt. And obviously,
has the ability. However, when you take into account the forwards, right, I don't think this team needs Ruud Gullit. That's what I'm saying.
I understand where you're coming from. I've gone awfully physical. The idea of Mateus and Gullit playing together is...
Well, this is where I was going to come in.
Bully boy football,
This is where I was going to come in and kind of, unfortunately, maybe dispute the angle you're going with, and I'm more inclined to go with Pirlo. Pirlo can control a game. He's got the passing range now. As you said, Gullit's probably more physical and maybe almost a bit similar as well to Mateus. So for me, I feel like you need something a little bit different next to him, and therefore that man could be Pirlo.
I understand the argument. I do. I guess this is probably the Chelsea fan in me. I would go with those two all day, basically, because of the physicality element.
I found Gullit needed it in another team for two very distinct reasons.
And that's fine. I'm interested to know where and which team, to be honest, because obviously we've all gone through these teams, so we know there's going to be differences going through. For what it's worth, like Pirlo featured in my third. right? That's why I will say that Pirlo didn't make
the pink diamond team.
I'm disgusted here.
There's a reason, because in the next team it's 4-3-3. You need a player at the base that can kind of do the dog's work, because the two in front of him are not going to.
This is fair. Let's say the forwards, and then we can decide if Pirlo or Gullit fits with that.
Great.
I think we've got the same 4 players here.
I'd have to think so.
I would suggest we have Maradona in the 10.
Yes.
We have Messi on the right.
Yes.
We have Cruyff on the left.
Yes.
And we have Fat Ronaldo up front.
Oh, there's the difference. Come on in, Woods.
I can't. As much as I love R9, I cannot leave Cristiano Ronaldo out of the team. I just cannot. Like, his numbers speak for themselves, don't they? Like, how am I meant to leave him out? That was the problem. Like, I sat here and I was kind of like, there's 3 of them. There's 3 players to fit into that position, isn't there? Let's be real. R9, Pele, and Cristiano Ronaldo.
Pele.
Look, Pele
consider him for a second, bro.
Pele gets dogs, right, at this point. I feel for him. I feel that he's fallen through a trap that he's basically become a parody of himself. The fact that he's got Santos arguing for fucking goals that he scored in friendly matches. That's the problem for Pele, right? Pele suffers because he played in an era where coloured TV didn't fucking exist. So whereas we have the romance with Diego, because we can look back and we can watch a fucking movie of Diego Maradona, we can't do that with Pele because the cameras just weren't capable of it. And I feel that Pele just, because he's such a self-promoter, it rubs people the wrong way. So I feel that always counts against him. The difference with R9 and Cristiano is just simply fucking numbers. Show me the fucking numbers. He's a machine. He's a goal machine. Cristiano Ronaldo's first part of his career, he was a tremendous inside forward, right? That's where he sort of excelled for United, and I think in his first sort of years at Madrid. He then became the greatest goal poacher of all time. And in a team which has Cruyff, Diego Maradona and Messi behind him, he's just going to be feasting in the 6-yard box.
I'm more inclined to go with Woods on this one and go with Ronaldo instead of... I mean, I love R9. I love him, but Woods makes a compelling case.
And look,
it's undoubtable. We all love him. We're children of the 90s, right? Ronaldo, El Fenomeno, he is the fucking guy for us. In 1998, when he put those fucking boots on, it blew our minds away. Like, we are those kids, right? We still live for those boots. But the facts are, like, Ronaldo's a genuine freak footballer. He's not the greatest of all time. Like, the 3 players behind him, I have all ahead of him, right? In terms of 1, 2 and 3. But Cristiano Ronaldo sits at number 4.
But Ronaldo still gets spoken about as one of the greatest players of all time.
He does.
Certainly in Idwell, it's basically him and Messi they get talked about now. So, yeah, I'm more. I'm not even a Ronaldo fan because I'm a Messi boy.
You're not going to find the Manchester United fan arguing against this, okay? I adore Cristiano Ronaldo, and there has never been a second of my life as soon as I was introduced to him where I haven't loved him, okay? Like, I love that man, and I'll always love that man. Okay. The more prickish he is, the more arrogant he is, the more I love him. So I'm happy to take Cristiano up front.
That's classic Mikey.
If we take Pirlo in the back.
I knew he was coming.
Well, this is the question now. So we've got
and this is tricky, right?
We've got the forwards. Yeah. So who are you going to go with in that basin? Is it going to be Gullit?
Look,
I'm going to let you fight it out, and you're going to have to come to an agreement.
I'm not going to fight it.
You're the decider.
Well, I know where I'm going. I've always said Pirlo,
and that's fine. That's fine.
Pirlo.
Ultimately, you understand where I'm coming from. Though,
I do.
Because ultimately, I think that as a Chelsea fan, physicality features heavily in the teams that I grew up watching, right? And I understand also that there's a romance to Pirlo, right? He is the beautiful game on and off the field. I love Andrea Pirlo.
I would also suggest, though, with this team as well, with the players we have behind, you don't get much more physical than Ramos. And Beckenbauer does come into midfield quite handily, because I would suggest this team has the ball quite a lot of the time.
Yeah, they're dictating play a lot.
And Beckenbauer will be striding forward, doing a lot of that type of work, I would suggest, being a more physical presence, a little bit.
The only thing that doesn't work as well in favour in terms of going for Hullet is I only saw him at the back end of his career, whereas I've seen Pirlo orchestrate midfield at the peak of his career. And for me, I'll always remember World Cup 2014, where England apparently had a plan going into the game in the World Cup, and
I don't know what the fucking plan
there was no fucking plan. And even it wasn't implemented well because the guy ran the show, and it was a joy to watch even as an England fan. So yeah, I have to go.
I guess that's the difference, isn't it? Because Ruud Gullet's back end of career sort of tapered off, where Pirlo's back end turned into the crucial player for Juventus to get back to the top of Italian football.
Maybe that's the key factor then in him going in the 11.
Look, Pirlo's going to sit there and pull strings. So I will have Pirlo in.
Excellent. Do you have a manager, or was there no manager?
Jose Mourinho.
So let me run through this one more time. So Buffon, Cafu,
yeah,
Franz,
yeah.
We have Ramos,
Correct.
Maldini,
Yep.
Mateus,
Yep.
Pirlo.
Yep.
Oh God, this team's incredible. Diego, Cruyff, Messi, and Cristiano. That's the best team of all time.
That is. It's proper naughty, mate. And like the issue with it is balanced. That's the key thing. This is what we wanted to do, right?
Balanced. That's a team of Galaxy Opals right there. Right. Let's go on to the Pink Diamonds.
Let's do it.
All right, now this is where it gets a bit quickly because now we've had players already come up in different places and things like that. I don't have Yashin in this one.
Oh, really?
Look, dude, on the basis that I ain't seen the guy play. I have a player that isn't as good as I thought he was when I was a child. However, his impact I don't think can be understated. I have Schmeichel.
We've got the same three keepers at least. So this because Schmeichel's in team 3 for me.
Right. Okay.
This is why
Big Pete was the man. Like, as a kid, Big Peter Schmeichel. Like I know Neuer made it in. I couldn't give a fuck about Manuel Neuer and his sweeper keeper tactics. He can go suck his mum for all I care. I'm having Peter Schmeichel over him every day of the week.
Now, I will say Lee is right when he says that when you watch Premier League years, Peter Schmeichel is at fault for a lot of these goals.
And that's why.
And he just basically, poor Pallister and Bruce just get an earful.
And this is why he's not going into the Pink Diamond team, I'm afraid. This is where Woods.
Is it Lev Yashin that's going to come in then?
Yes.
Okay.
Lev Yashin comes into Pink Diamond. That's fine. That is fine. Right, and so this is a back four. So this is 4-3-3.
It is.
Okay. So, do you want to go your back four first?
Roberto Carlos.
Yes.
Mateus Sammer.
No.
I am a huge fan of Mateus Sammer because of Euro 96. He was basically the reincarnation of somewhat of Franz Beckenbauer for the kids of the 90s. He was a fucking warrior. He was the best player in that German team that lifted that tournament, and by some distance as well. Brazy's obviously in. And then I've got, it gets tough, right back, so tough. I've gone Carlos Alberto, right? And I don't feel comfortable with it. I will say that. He's one of those that I am told about how good he was. He was the captain in the 1970 World Cup team, scored one of the most iconic goals in a World Cup final. I don't feel comfortable with it, right?
Yeah, that's why I don't have him in mind. Just again, I wasn't comfortable putting a player in that I couldn't talk about.
Because the other guy that I've got in my third team is actually Dani Alves.
Yes.
I've got that, and I know that he wasn't actually interestingly on the list of the Ballon d'Or players. Philippe Lahm would have probably been the more obvious choice, but respect Dani Alves, man.
Isn't Philippe Lahm a left back?
He was a right back on their list.
Oh, that's not a list to be reliable, man.
Where did Philippe Lahm play? Hang on a second. I could have sworn
he did have a stint in midfield as well.
I might be talking complete nonsense, to be fair. All right, so he played right back or defensive midfielder and spent much of his career playing left back. So that's what Wikipedia tells me.
That's particularly helpful.
Yeah, thank you, Wikipedia.
But you can play
all
there,
right, we'll take it. Yeah. Well, all right. So my back four, Roberto Carlos. Yeah, I think that's the lock for left back.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had Ramos in this one.
So sort of Baresi and Ramos are switched sort of.
So Baresi now is this one. Okay. I then have Cannavaro. Just because he won a Ballon d'Or, if I'm honest with you. And he was pretty good. I am open to suggestion here, though, if I'm honest with you. Right back. Now, this is purely because of the guy in front of the right back, which we'll get onto. I have Javier Zanetti.
Ooh, nice shout.
Because he played like 880 times for Inter Milan. That's not an exaggeration. It's literally 880 times.
Yeah, give me Zanetti, mate. Don't even need to hear anymore. Just give me Zanetti.
Not a attacking player, but locking that shit down and enabling someone delicious to play in front of him, basically.
That's incredible, right? So he doesn't feature in the Ballon d'Or list, which is why I completely forgot about him.
Lee appears to have frozen.
Or he's thinking hard about Javier Zanetti. Look, Zanetti's in. I'm not even debating it. Zanetti is the right back. I would take Matthias Sammer over Cannavaro just because he's a better ball progressor from the back. And I feel that Baresi probably more of a, although probably could play a bit of ball, I think he's more probably the hardball defender in that place. And I think that Sammer can obviously do a bit more with it.
And I'm in agreement.
Cannavaro does feature my next team.
Let me just be clear. Baresi was an exceptional distributor of the ball.
Sam is coming out, mate.
For his ball
Sam is coming out, mate. Right? Sam is coming out with the ball, confident, strutting with his ginger locks.
So let me write this down. So Yashin, Carlos, Sammer, Baresi, and Zanetti.
Yeah.
Happy with that?
Absolutely.
Yep. Right, this is where it gets really fucking interesting. Right, so I said to you that I had to drop Hullet from my first team because I wanted him in my second team. Now, we talked about systems. We talked about the reason why we do certain things. So, my midfield three.
Go on. Let's hear it.
I've got Rijkaard.
Yes, he's in mine. Base.
I've got Hullet.
Okay.
And I've got Zidane.
So, I've got two of those, obviously, because Ruud's off in my first team. I've got Michel Platini.
See, right, I did a little bit of reading about Platini today, and because he's one of those guys that was around before I was around, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't see too much of him, really. Fuck that guy. That's all I have to say about that.
His image is tarnished.
His image is tarnished. Look, there's no
time
doubt.
for him whatsoever. He was incredible by the looks of it. I couldn't care less. He doesn't get anywhere near any of my teams. Fuck that guy, basically. And also, I needed that Dutch connection. I needed Rijkaard and Hullet to play together, and I needed Zidane in the team.
You cannot not have Platini in one of these teams, right? Regardless of how much of a scumbag he has been off the pitch. And the most disappointing thing about Platini is he was a football guy, right?
Yeah.
So because he basically he was the one that should have basically brought good to the game. Because he was a football guy. He was a footballer.
He's also a money guy as well. He chased that money, mate.
Crucial player for the French national team. Is he still He was a second leading scorer until Giroud passed him recently, right? I think that's correct. Look, Platini was an exceptional footballer. He's probably the player of that sort of mid-'80s as well.
When you're banned from football over ethics violations, that prohibits you from being involved in any of the best of teams.
I agree. But let's put it this way. He's not making the pink diamond team.
He's getting spoken about now. That's enough for him. Right?
That's enough. So you're basically banned him from the teams, which is fine because I do get Ruud Hullet in the second team, and I'm good with this, right? I'm good with this.
Are we happy with Hullet, Zidane and Rijkaard? And also you get Rijkaard and Hullet playing together.
This is true. So you do get that Dutch connection. I'm happy with it.
And also Zidane's probably one of my favourite players of all time.
Zidane's the fifth best player. Zidane is in that top echelon of players. He's either 5 or 6. Yeah. He's unfortunate that he just doesn't fit a system because otherwise he'd be in the top team. It's just that he just doesn't fit in there.
With this one, having Hullet and Rijkaard, it allows Zidane to float.
And just go be Zidane, right?
Go be Zidane, essentially. And that, again, looking at teams, looking at systems, I like that a lot. I like that a lot. Works. So, right, we are agreed then. We've got Hullet, Rijkaard, and Zizou. Right, now this is where it gets really fucking
I'm interested to know who you've got at right wing, because I think that you might have someone different.
I've got a player that I don't think has ever played right wing in his life. but apparently I've got to get him in the team. I've got Pele in at right wing.
I love it, mate. Squeeze him in there.
Doesn't
this
go against
this is why I have Zanetti at right back. You see, because Pele may start at right wing, but then he goes where he wants, mate. He goes where he wants.
Okay.
It's a very fluid front. It's a very fluid front three. It's quite a narrow front three.
Apparently, who have you got the other side?
Ronaldinho.
Yes, absolutely right. Yes, and I guess you must have Cristiano in your.
I then had Cristiano up top. Yeah.
I've got Garrincha at right wing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So we're now in a position because Pele is the striker in my team, because I struggle with it a bit, but I feel that there comes a point where you go from joking about Pele to being literally derogatory to him. He is still one of the greatest footballers that's ever lived, and him or R9 was tough. Now, the reason why I'm okay with R9 and being in my third team is because who he plays up front with, because it's the stuff
I know who you're going to
fantasy.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm happy to go Dino, Garrincha, and Pele.
I'm happy with the.
That's
I'm
the
happy
three.
with the wide guys. I'm not happy with just with Pele again, because I'm allowing my childhood to affect me in terms of my love for R9 and scoring some of the most beautiful goals. And maybe I'm also being my memory's a little tarnished now with the recent memes that I constantly see with Pele. And they're like scoring against fucking kids, and under 13s, and they should be counted. So I don't know.
Dude, Pele's one of his most famous moments is that skill where he dummies the ball and it still isn't a goal.
You're going to bring up the other one as well, aren't you? The one where he shoots on the halfway line and he misses.
Yeah.
Look, Pele won a World Cup.
That one, the Gordon Banks save.
Pele was an integral part of the team which won it in '58 at 17 years old. Like, he was a star boy in that team. He wasn't necessarily a star boy. 4 years later, he got hurt, but then in '70, he was the guy. He is an exceptional player. He's football's first superstar, and there's understanding. There's a reason why he has memed himself. He's an old guy. Let's not forget this. He's not socially aware to understand what the fuck's going on with all of this stuff.
Socially aware to endorse Viagra.
Look, man, some dudes can't get going. He's out there promoting this.
What are we saying? We've got Ronaldinho on the left.
I want to.
Garrincha on the right.
R9 up front.
No, not having it, mate. I'm genuinely not having it. I'm not having it. I'm not having it because of what happens to my next team. I'm not having it. Because I want these two to play together in my other team.
Well, okay, hit me then with the other team, and then we'll come back to confirm. He has to make a compelling case.
Pele on his own in this team is fine, right? Because he's got those two kind of outside of him that are going to do the work and put the ball in the back post, and he's going to be nodding them in all day, like just nodding them in at the back post. The other team is fun because the other team has the front two, so I get to pair these together.
Is a fucking mess.
This was so hard, mate. Team 3, oh my god, it's like you look at team 1 and team 2 and go yes, and then team 3 it's like, what the fuck is going on here? Where are all the players?
This is the Diamonds, and this is where it just gets like a fucking dumpster fire, because this is where I basically was like, right, this is where you can argue for really anyone you like, and I have done, but I've also tried to have some structure to it, so there is systems. Again, systems are in play, because I found that to be important. So in goal I had Yashin. This is where it's
going to be Pete, isn't it?
This is where Pete Schmeichs comes in, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is there no other goalkeeper we can consider?
No. I don't know about you, Mikey, but I won't hear it. So
I'm just a passenger then.
Well, look, you've got
there's Gordon Banks. I know Gordon Banks is one that's thrown. Peter Schmeichel. I know. Lee, you talk about the romance. This is the romance team to an extent because of who I've got up front and who I've got in goal. So,
all right, Big Pete.
Right, at 3 at the back. The more I look at the team, the more I fucking hate it. But we'll go 3 at the back. I have Nesta.
Yes.
Bobby Moore.
Yes.
And Marcel Desailly.
I've got Cannavaro. Because obviously Cannavaro crucially hasn't been in yet.
Yeah.
I prefer Desailly.
We're going Desailly over Cannavaro. Or Nesta.
Could we have Desailly over Nesta and then bring Cannavaro in?
Yeah. That works.
Nesta
Look,
disrespect.
I really
Desai was a monster, right?
I really want to go Ferdinand instead of Nesta, if I'm honest with you. But Ferdinand is not a name we say too loudly around these parts. So,
I mean, Bobby Moore has to feature in this team.
I'm happy with Cannavaro. So, are we saying Cannavaro, Moore, and then Desai?
Okay.
Yeah.
Are we happy with that?
Yep.
Don't get me wrong, I love Nesta as well, but yeah.
Right, fullbacks. Wingbacks.
Yeah.
I do have Dani Alves.
Yes.
Because, yeah, he's like the most decorated player ever, basically. So it kind of... I feel like it kind of has to be Dani Alves.
Alves playing wing-back works as well.
This is it. Now, the other side is fucking tricky. I went with Ashley Cole.
Oh, wow. Wow. Okay. I've got Paul Breitner, who was a bit of a rock star for that German national team. So that's the way I've gone with it.
He's the late 80s, 90s guy, yeah? Early 90s. That was his...
He's 70s, 80s. Oh, is he? I think you're getting Andreas Bremer.
Yes,
so Breitner would have won... I think he was... I'm going to have a look at his honours. I'm pretty sure he must have won a World Cup, right? I'm not making this shit up, am I? They won it in 74, didn't they? Of course he won the World Cup. He scored the penalty, didn't he? Yes, he did. I just reminding myself that he's won a fucking awful lot. Finished second in a Ballon d'Or voting once as well, crucially. Like, he is...
Go for that guy.
Paul Breitner is in.
Yeah?
Yeah, Paul Breitner. Look, Ashley Cole was an exceptional fullback, but...
I don't think he's a wing-back.
I think he'd look a little bit out of...
I struggled, if I'm honest with you. I did struggle. This, like I said, this team for me is a mess. I'm not happy with really any of it, but we'll see how it goes. So, give me your three midfielders, Woods. Who have you got?
This is where Pirlo was in mine.
Disgraceful.
But with Michael Laudrup and Bobby Charlton had to feature in one of these teams. Like, I just... You know what I mean? Like, it's so tough. Like, surely he has to be in one of these teams somewhere. So it would have been kind of Pirlo. He's not... Bobby Charlton? Holy shit.
Dude, if I can't find...
Wayne Rooney's erased Bobby Charlton from Mikey's memory here.
If I can't find room for George Best...
Yeah.
I can't find room for Bobby Charlton.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Because I thought you were going to say George Best in Team 2 instead of Gaincha, but...
Yeah, he was nearly there. But then that was my debate. And then simply the formation didn't... Well, it was out of Pele and Best, to be honest with you. But then the formation in this one just fucked me.
So, just to clarify, Best is not going to be featuring in either of your teams?
I can't fit him in.
Okay.
So who are your midfield three? You've got Charlton,
Laudrup and Pirlo. But Pirlo obviously can't be. Yes. Right,
so my midfield three are completely different.
Go for it.
As again, we go for systems, right? We like systems in our team.
Yes.
I have Xavi, Iniesta and Scholes.
Fucking hell, you sneaking Paul Scholes in like that. Look, I'll give you two of them, right? I'll give you Xavi and Iniesta. I will give you those two. It was nearly,
right, the Scholes spot, I deliberated long and hard. It was nearly Roy Keane, if I'm honest with you, and it was nearly Patrick Vieira.
Yeah, those two are in my mind a bit as well. It's tough. It's tough. If I'm honest, trying to, because I can't figure this fucking formation in my head a bit. That's the problem I got. Like with Xavi and Iniesta, I think that we spoke about it already. They come in as a pair somewhat. Now that's why they didn't really kind of make it into my teams.
This is why they're in my team, because that Barcelona team is probably the best team ever.
Yes. So there has to be a recognition, right?
But
they do have some tasty forwards. Right, they've got some tasty forwards to still play with in this team.
Lee, what say you?
I'm inclined to have the Barca partnership of Iniesta and Xavi, but then there needs to be a compelling case for someone just a bit more sturdy in the middle. And I don't know if we've got that.
Busquets?
No, not Busquets. In this functional team that you want to make.
You've got to remember there's three centre halves.
Okay.
This is kind of my thinking there as well.
I feel that Xavi and Iniesta are kind of sitting with someone. Like
I disagree there. I see that when we have the ball, someone like a Moore pops into defensive midfield. and then you have Scholes and Xavi sitting, Iniesta then goes 10 and plays further up the pitch in that Iniesta position.
I can't have Scholes.
See, as soon as you say those words, and I'm already thinking, I was already leaning towards Scholes because he's probably my second favourite player. Why is it that you don't want Scholes? Talk to me.
Can't have Scholes, mate. I can't have Scholes over Bobby Charlton or Laudrup. I just can't have it. Those two players are just better footballers than him.
They're not. That's the key.
They are. Paul Scholes gets fucking run out of town by Lampard and Gerrard discussions. Like, Jesus, how the hell am I going to see
Scholes is better than the pair of them. What are you on about?
Come on, man. Come on. You can't have basically, though, you just cannot have Scholes.
We had Thiago fucking Silva in the 2020 Team of the Year.
Right.
He played 4 times.
Scholes just can't get in this team. It's just not going to be Paul Scholes. It's just not Scholes. I would have Charlton or Laudrup over him.
And the issue is he's going to be the one tweeting it as well, so it's not even like we can go against it anyway.
I wouldn't have either of them over him if I'm honest with you.
I wouldn't either.
I just really can't have...
I'd prefer, if we're going to go down that route and not have Scholes, I'd prefer to have...
Laudrup.
No, I'd prefer to have Patrick Vieira. If I'm honest with you.
And not Roy Keane? So you're having Vieira over Keane? As in your backup?
Well, look, Roy Keane is Roy Keane, right? Maybe I prefer Roy Keane. I just Bobby Charlton was fine. That's great. I'm not going to dismiss him. Laudrup, no, it doesn't get in the conversation.
Michael Laudrup, I'm surprised that you haven't been educated by him while you've been in Madrid, my friend.
No, I've been educated by Paul Scholes for the last 30 years of my life. An incredible footballer who basically every other top footballer that's ever played with him says he's the best player they've ever played against. Like that, that's that. Every player that's ever trained with him, every player that's ever played against him says he's the best player that they've played against or with. That surely should have some sway here.
He's just not getting into my mind. It's just not going to happen. It's just not going to be Paul Scholes. It's just not going to be Paul Scholes.
Where's the democracy on this pod?
If I said Frank Lampard, he'd be all about it, wouldn't he?
No, I wouldn't, because I wouldn't have Lampard over mine, because it's equally like I wouldn't have Gerrard in it. I just don't feel that those guys go ahead of these players. I'd even lean towards Roy Keane over Paul Scholes. I would.
Well, I love Roy Keane. You'll never hear me argue against a Roy Keane, to be honest with you. Right. Let's leave that spot blank. And then we'll do the forwards, and then we'll see what fits. Okay?
Yeah, let's do it.
Right. So
I'm guessing.
Well, look, I'll go for my first one. Okay.
Yeah.
Named European Footballer of the Year in 1967, nicknamed the Emperor, a club legend of Ferencváros. Albert joined the team as a schoolboy and spent his whole career there. He also started for Hungary, winning 75 international caps. He was joint top goal scorer at the 1962 World Cup with 4 goals and played a key part in Hungary's third-place finish. Ballon d'Or winner, stadium is named after him. What more do you want?
Words come back with something.
3-time Ballon d'Or winner, Marco van Basten.
Yeah, and Van Basten is my choice.
Oh, thank God.
I love Marco van Basten. I just love him. For someone that I never got to see with my own eyes, bearing in mind that he had his career wrecked by the time I started getting invested in football. I love everything about Marco van Basten. And this is why I want Ronaldo and Van Basten together, because it is just this romantic partnership up front. It's just what I want. It's just what I want. Like I said, Ronaldo, Van Basten, pair them together, sweet music.
Yeah, now imagine Paul Scholes playing them through.
Look, here's where I'll go with this. You're saying you want to play Iniesta in a 10. I can't have it, right? I can't have him in a 10. I'll give you Paul Scholes, but you're going to have to give me Francisco Toy.
That's a good trade. Come on.
Yeah.
Because he was the one that I laboured with. I was like, I want to get him in somehow, right? I did.
And he has the numbers to back himself up as well.
Yeah, of course he does. Like he won a Scudetto for Roma. That's like worth fuck knows how many European Cups that the others have won. Like what he did in the early 2000s, World Cup winner, Emperor of Rome. Superstar.
I like this team a lot more with Totti in it, by the way. A lot more with Totti in it.
So are we in agreement?
The reason being, I'll explain why I've got here. I couldn't quite work the three in my midfield, in my mind how it was. And when you said that you'd sit Scholes and Xavi next to each other, I saw my opportunity. And I was like, yes, he's going in the 10. He's going in the 10 behind Ronaldo and Van Basten. This might be my favourite fucking team.
But this means that Pele is in the other team.
It does. And
playing with Garrincha.
Playing with Garrincha, exactly.
And Ronaldinho.
Yeah. It makes sense. I do think it makes sense because, like I said, I want the partnership of Ronaldo and Van Basten in one of these teams. And when I saw
Totti behind.
With Totti behind.
Now, Liam, Mr. Collard, are there any players here that we haven't mentioned that you would like to have seen?
No, I think you've covered them off. I mean, I understand Woods' case with Laudrup. I feel like you have sort of underestimated him a little bit.
Dude, honestly...
Mate, this is a guy that's played for Real Madrid and Barcelona. That's pretty rare.
And he starred for them. I get where Mike is coming.
Yeah, because Figo was in contention for us, wasn't he?
You know, it's a funny one, right, with Figo. Because at one point, he probably would have been.
Where's Eusebio?
You could argue the same with Kaká, but not consistent enough over a long enough long enough time. He had like one or two outstanding seasons, and that was it.
And he's one of the other most decorated players, Clarence Seedorf.
It's a good one.
Yeah. The thing with Seedorf, I'm never really sure what his position was.
No, not a clue, to be honest with you. Well, let's run through the three teams again, just to read out the lineups, and we'll just kind of. These are the teams. So in the third team, we have Peter Schmeichel in goal. We have Cannavaro, Moore, and Desai at centre halves. Dani Alves and Breitner at fullbacks. Xavi and Scholes in midfield, with Totti, Van Basten, and Ronaldo.
That's a juicy team.
That front three.
Then we have the second team, the Pink Diamonds. We have Yashin in goal. We have Roberto Carlos and Javier Zanetti at fullbacks, with Matthias Sammer and Franco Baresi at centre half. We have Hullet, Rijkaard and Zidane in the midfield, and Ronaldinho, Garrincha and Pele making up the front three spots, which is also a fairly outrageous team.
That is
the Brazilian trio as well. Work well.
This is it. It does work well with that Brazilian three. And then we have the unbelievable team. We have Buffon in goal, Cafu and Maldini at fullbacks, with Franz Beckenbauer and Sergio Ramos. Fucking come on, Ramos. At centre halves. Pirlo and Loftus-Mateus in the midfield, with Johan Cruyff, Diego Maradona and Lionel Messi, and Cristiano Ronaldo up front.
That's pretty fucking magical. That is a magical team. Yeah, I think we've done this well.
We might get shit for Scholes.
That third team's going to get some people talking. There's no doubt about it, right?
Yeah.
Look,
at the end of the day,
for what it's worth, Mikey, I'm going to be honest here, right? The reason I will always argue Frank Lampard over the pair of them is because I'm a Chelsea fan. That's the only reason. If I'm being honest, I think Gerrard was a better player than Frank Lampard. That's the truth of it. I do think he was the better footballer, and I think Scholes was the better footballer than the pair of them. But you have to understand where I'm coming from here. I'm a Chelsea fan.
We've got this on tape.
I know, but this is the honest truth. If I'm being honest about it, like, Frank Lampard excelled because of the effort levels that he put in. I think even if he was being honest with himself, he'd say the other two were more talented.
But this is
Paul Scholes played on until he was 35.
And this is the.
He came out of retirement and dragged them to another title, right? I'm not making it up in my head. That happened.
He came out of retirement and we won a league again. Yeah. Scored a header against Man City.
I get it.
And this is also the argument with Ronaldo and Messi, isn't it?
Maybe that's
in terms of Ronaldo works harder, Messi's just more naturally gifted.
There is an element, and to an extent as well, when people argue for Ronaldo, there is an element of blinkers as well. It tends to be, people won't hear the logical argument. I think that Paul Scholes is probably the most hard done by player in the Premier League era by opposition fans, purely because of the Americanification of football, because his numbers just don't back it, right?
Giggs suffers from this as well.
Giggs gets a kick in as well. There's quite a few players and it will happen as we go forward, because the game is just going to be more focused on this fucking nonsense. But he also got done dirty by Sven-Goran Eriksson, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that there's always this kind of feeling that Scholes didn't do it for England. We're old enough to remember Paul Scholes going to Hampden, right? Paul Scholes coming out and then Keegan at full time saying he wanted to adopt him. Like that was the Paul Scholes that was like the best player for England at that point. And then Ericsson came in and fucked it.
Yeah, Ericsson literally fucked it. But I like the fact that, look, Woods gets his wish and we've got Totti making it. Leo gets his wish with Paul Scholes making it, and I get my wish by having Pirlo in the first team. Yeah, so
I'm happy about this. I'm looking forward to people I'm hoping there'll be some interaction from people giving us some feedback on this, because it will be divisive.
Ecstatic about these teams, by the way. I'll write them up so you can tweet them. I'll put them in that cool.
I suspect that we're not having George Best in any of these teams. That's going to get flagged.
It was tough.
Where did he play? I mean, the only one you could think of, the only position that he could potentially go in is for Dino or Pele, because it's the only system that he works in.
Could he not work with the Garincha?
No, for Dino or
Garincha. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
But if you want the Brazilian connection up front, talking about systems.
This is the thing. This is what we have to emphasise.
Like Garincha is...
We have to emphasise his system.
It is. Like George Best... We all love George Best, but I think we also love
by 23.
Yeah, we love the story of George Best more than anything else, right? We love the narrative.
What did he say? If he was ugly, no one would have ever heard of Pele. That's what I was quoting.
You know, this George Best has all the quotes. I just think that Garincha was a proper footballer, though.
You watch Garincha clips on YouTube, man, and you'd be genuinely mind blown. I didn't realise that football was like that back then.
Yeah, I mean, he was playing football like he'd be able to play now, right? That's how good he was. Well, and obviously, Ronaldinho is probably the most gifted footballer, right? In terms of what he could do with a football, no other player has been able to do that. It's just that
there's a similarity as well.
He got to the high and went, now it's time to party.
And of the party, we've got Party Boy on the other side in terms of Garincha, because he was very much
yeah, we got a pair of Party Boys.
Playboy as well.
At least Pele will be able to deal him with what they need, right?
Okay, well, I look forward to getting it up on Twitter and seeing if there is any interaction. Hopefully we'll have some good banter as Wood's fridge goes off.